This is a Fatal 4 podcast.
Hello, and welcome to Didn't Get All of It. I'm Cody Carlson, and on this episode, we will be reviewing the WWE Premium Live event, King and Queen of the Ring. Joining me is another member of the Fatal 4, Paul Griffin.
That's right. We just got done watching this show, and believe it or not, excited to talk about it.
I am excited. And, you know, before we get into the show, if you're a first-time listener, I'd like to encourage you to subscribe to Didn't Get All of It, wherever you get your podcasts. We have new shows dropping every Friday morning. You can check out more on fatal4pod.com. That's fatal4, F-O-U-R, pod.com. For links to all of our socials, info about our Patreon, and you can send us emails for the show. But like I said, today we are talking about King and Queen of the Ring, which aired.
Doesn't roll off the tongue. It's really hard. It's really hard to say that all of it.
They really should just come up with a new name, like well, Royal Rumble's already a thing, but like some kind of like play on
coronation event.
Yeah, something. I don't know. I don't know. But the King and Queen of the Ring, which did air live from the Progressive Kingdom of Saudi Arabia.
Do they still call it that?
I think so.
But I'm still not falling for it.
I mean, it's gotten progressive-er over the years since WWE has been doing shows there, in the sense that like Sami Zayn is allowed in the country now.
They're tricking you.
And if you're paying attention during the main event, women are allowed to have iPads now.
That made me so mad. I hate seeing anybody record with an iPad. I don't care how impressed you are. You should not be recording anything with an iPad.
But my favorite part about these overseas shows is the fact that I got to enjoy it on a nice Saturday afternoon. Still daylight. It's very nice.
It's going to be daylight when the show is done and we can go do stuff.
Yeah, it's great. And then you fine listeners can enjoy it either in the nighttime or Sunday morning, whatever suits your fancy. But I guess, yeah, let's just jump into it. First of all, did you watch the...
I was going to say, speaking of suits of fancy, we need to talk about Becky's attire, but there is a pre-show.
I was going to say, I actually did not watch the... I want to say, they don't call it kickoff anymore, right? They call it... what do they call it? I forget. Because they've been doing those like press conferences the day or 2 days prior, and they're calling those the kickoff events now.
They shouldn't call them kickoffs, because what is that? In the context of wrestling, what is a kickoff?
If anything, they should call it a super kickoff.
Yes.
Because at least a super kick is a wrestling term.
Yeah.
I don't know. The pre-show, though, whatever they call that. Did you watch it?
I did. Well,
okay.
I watched the match from it. I didn't watch most of it.
Okay. Then maybe you can fill me in, because I did not. I kind of forgot about it and thought the show started at 1 p.m. Eastern, like the pre-show, but that was actually the live.
It was all right. They did a tag match between Candice LeRae and Bianca and Jade for the women's tag titles, mainly just to get everybody on the show. But I think the big thing that stood out to me was that Indy Hartwell seems to have really stepped it up.
Oh, really?
Since turning heel. Yeah. I thought she came off really well in this match. She was twirling her pigtails around like Bianca's hair. It was a pretty solid match. They worked it around Bianca's knee that was struggling, but ultimately the babyfaces picked up the win. Bianca and Jade have this cool double team finish where Jade picks them up in like a cradling position of sorts. I don't know if that's what it's called, but like a wheelbarrow, and then Bianca does a DDT, and then she turns it into like a suplex, and that's how they picked up the win over Candice.
Interesting.
It was neat.
Nice.
Nothing to go out of your way for by any means, but neat.
Okay. Sounds good. And then the show proper kicked off with Becky Lynch defending her women's world championship against Liv Morgan. And yes, fancy suits, right? Becky Lynch came out wearing, I don't even know how to describe it. Like,
she looked like she was waiting tables at a wedding.
kind of, yeah. Well, like tuxedo-esque.
Yeah, she wore like a tux. But it was like a one-piece tux that had, I don't know, I didn't hate it. It was just silly looking.
So for those uninitiated, by the way, the women are not allowed to wear their regular attires in Saudi Arabia. So I do appreciate, though, that they finally let them wear cool shit instead of just put on a
t-shirt.
Like, yeah, a big sleep shirt and like a scuba diving suit underneath it.
That said, if they did want to wear a big sleep shirt that said HR class of 2023 on it, I would be fine with it.
Putting you down, bitch.
But I don't think that's happening.
No. Liv Morgan, I don't know if she's worn this exact outfit before, but it was very similar to one that she's worn in the past.
She wore it at the Chamber, but I think it's not this. The one that she wore at the Chamber was more leathery. And I saw some interview she did in the last week where she said that once she took that off, she was like completely drenched in sweat, and she said she'd never put it on again and would never wear it again. So this looked a little less leathery, but it still was the Britney Spears outfit that everybody recognizes.
Yeah. Right.
It's a good look. No one's complaining.
No. They looked good, and they had a nice 16-minute match. I thought it was kind of slow to start, but really picked up.
Becky also looked extra grumpy in this match. I don't know why.
Like boo-boo face?
I don't know if it's worth.
Grumpy? Like,
is it something to read into, or is it she's just in a bad mood?
Maybe that the buttons are too tight on that top.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe that's the problem.
I think really the main story here is Dom Mysterio's involvement at the end.
Yes. They did something in the pre-show where he showed up to talk to Liv Morgan. She's like, "What the hell are you doing here?" And he's like, "I'm here to make sure you don't win Mommy's title."
Okay.
Which clearly they're setting up other stuff. So
sure. Okay, I appreciate that context though, because as I said, I didn't see the pre-show, so I didn't see that. And when he came out, it was kind of like, I don't know, the announcers were really selling this idea of like him not wanting her to take Mommy's title, and it's like, where is this coming from? Like, this hasn't really been a part of this story, so that makes sense if they had a little segment during the pre-show.
There was a thing.
Okay, so that's good. So that makes me like it even better, because I already liked it, but I was kind of like, this seems random.
I like what they're doing here, because it's been as subtle as wrestling can get. I don't want to say that it's been very subtle, because it's wrestling, but the stuff that's been going on in the background with him has been very clear. And folks, this is what we call cinema.
Yeah,
they're
and I like
a great story here.
I like this approach a lot better than them, like Dom just coming out and doing everything he did, but then him and Liv like hugging it out at the end and being like, we tricked all you.
Yeah, the trick has to come later.
The slow burn is much
when
better.
Rhea's back.
Yeah. Although one like little devil's advocate kind of thing here is like, everyone online has been pointing out these little background things, like Liv wearing Dom's bandana and her coming out of the same locker room as him in the background of episodes of Raw. And like, if Corey Graves and Michael Cole were good journalists, don't you think they would see this online?
They're not
people
journalists.
Pointing this stuff out.
They should have. I don't hate the idea of an in-show journalist bringing that up, though. Like, next time Kathy Kelly's interviewing Liv, there should be a purple bandana, and she's like, "What the hell's that?"
Right.
Which would be really interesting, but that would almost be too much on the nose.
True. But yeah, Liv Morgan won. I think we all said this a couple weeks ago on the show that Liv had to win here.
But also we just talked about how I mean, clearly they're not going this direction, but Lyra and Becky seemed like a match to do.
I would say they could still do it and just have it be non-title. I think
It needed to be teacher student something. Maybe they do tag titles for a while.
Yeah, could be, but I don't know. I think we need more non-title women's programs. I feel like it's been a while. I feel like it's been a while since we've had just like a women's feud that didn't center around a title of some kind. So I wouldn't mind if we just had an exhibition match between the two at SummerSlam.
I guess we'll see.
Because otherwise, I don't really know what Becky does other than, I guess, just a rematch with Liv.
I think she needs time off, but this match ended with Dominic sliding the chair to Becky to get her to use it, but she hesitated and Liv hit a DDT on it, and then what's Liv's finish called?
Oblivion.
Yeah, and then she pinned her and won the title, and Dominic pretended to look very shocked, and Becky was very mad.
Mm-hmm.
And later in the show, they set up that Becky has a rematch clause in her contract. I'm glad she specified her contract and not that time where everybody just had one. I think that's a neat thing to negotiate if you're someone of her stature. That she will be getting a rematch on Raw Monday. I assume that after that she takes time off.
Maybe. I don't know. Is there talks of that? I haven't really.
Well, they're still doing contract negotiations, and they haven't signed a new deal. And if she doesn't re-sign, how much do you want her on TV?
Right.
Also, it would be really bad if they didn't keep her, but we can talk about that on a Friday.
You don't want Rebecca Quinn versus Mercedes Moné at All In?
I definitely do not want that at all.
For the TBS title?
That sounds rough. I don't want to do that. We shouldn't have that.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure we'll talk about that more soon. But nonetheless, Liv Morgan wins. And then we go into the triple threat match for the WWE Intercontinental Championship. I finally have Peacock Premium, by the way.
Oh, congrats.
Yeah.
All that Patreon money paying off.
Yeah, for real. No, mainly because I was sharing an account with my brother, who was getting Peacock Premium through his cable provider. It was like part of his package or whatever. But he switched cable providers. It didn't tell me. So I went to log in to watch the last Premium Live event. And it was like, you can't watch this. I was like, what the hell? So I kind of bit the bullet and bought a year's subscription of Peacock Premium.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. But
so
whatever package, that's what I was gonna say is whatever package he had before was the one where like it was with ads. So during like video packages, I would see ads for like Ozempic or whatever the fuck it's called. Ozempic. And instead, so this was like the first full Premium Live event I watched where I didn't have any of that, so I got to watch all the video packages. So there was a nice little video package for this feud, which I thought was good.
The worst was when they had ads and the video packages. So you'd get the ad, and then you would just get more ads, I think.
Oh, yeah.
If you didn't have premium. And then they would do the video package for everybody, which is not necessary.
No. So we got that, and then Chad Gable made his entrance, and the whole crowd did the "You suck" chant.
Yeah.
And I thought that was great.
Real quick.
Yeah, because they did that. The crowd did that on Raw last week, but I was like, oh, that might just be a one-time thing. But Saudi picked up on it, so
I think I don't know what Otis was wearing under his Alpha Academy shirt, but it's worth noting that Chad Gable had on like a boxing robe that was gold and black, and Maxine was dressed in all gold like a conquistador. And
I thought she was wearing.
We talked about it, but I hope that she's the one who stays heel or turns heel with him.
Well, he didn't even allow her to come to the ring with him.
I know, but there might be more to that. Like, this is a test for Otis. You don't need to be here.
Well, it was more of like the opposite. At least that's how commentary presented it. It was like, Otis stood up for me on Raw. You didn't. So you're not allowed out here. He is.
Yeah, there's still time.
Okay.
Still time to sort that out.
Well, anyway, Gable's extremely over. The you suck stuff is great. I mean, obviously, there's the comparisons with Kurt Angle, and that's why. But um, they're not exactly doing it in rhythm with the song. I don't think.
No, they're just saying it. There's no rhythm to
But,
the
like,
song to do it to.
No, but it's not like it's still not the same cadence as like Kurt Angle's. You suck. You suck. Like it's just you suck. You suck.
You could go the hard route and just take Kurt Angle's theme.
No.
Give it to
Kurt Angle's theme was already taken by from the Patriot.
Yeah, why not?
But then I really liked how when his song ended at the end of the entrance, they ramped up and just started doing a full blown "You suck, you suck, you suck."
Yeah, it's great.
I hope more crowds continue that.
This match also was ridiculous.
This was my match of the night.
I think you'd be hard pressed to not call it that on this whole show. Like there was other stuff on this show that was very good, not topping this.
Yeah. I just loved it. I mean, triple threats can be hard to produce or to book or to work because a lot of them fall into that same trope of like basically just doing singles matches in parts, you know, like two guys will fight, throw someone out of the ring, then someone else will come in, throw the other person out, and just do-si-do. But I thought this match did a phenomenal job of like incorporating all three guys throughout the match. There were very little times where someone was like, quote unquote, out of it. Things were just happening constantly. It was very well paced. Lots of cool 3-man spots. Just great stuff from start to finish.
I really wish they'd allow Bronson Reed to like win someday. Because as cool as he is and as impressive as they want him to come off as, he loses all the time. So it's hard to believe him ever winning. But this dude's doing moonsaults. He's doing suicide dives. He's carrying everybody around the ring. Like he's so imposing and so good.
That movie did where like he's got I think it was Gable in the like inverted DDT position and then does a Uranagi with his other arm on Sami Zayn.
Yeah,
like on top of Gable. It's so
that
cool,
rocks
though, every time.
At one point, he was going for a suplex on Sami, who was going for a suplex on Gable, and Gable fought out of it and then ran to the back and suplexed Bronson and Sami at the same time, which was insane.
That was crazy. I did not. I thought it was going to be Bronson throwing both of them. I did not see Gable.
This was much cooler.
Much cooler. Yeah. No. This for me, I think this was the best Bronson Reed match I've ever seen.
You should watch more of them.
I didn't see a lot of his NXT work. I saw like a couple things. I saw that clusterfuck ladder match that he was in, where I think he won the North American title. Don't quote me on that.
I don't remember that.
But I don't know. He was never really like, he looked cool, but I don't know. Never really impressed me much until recently. I think last few months he's really picked it up, not only in the ring, but his character work too, and his segments have gotten better. I agree. I think he needs to start winning some stuff, but he shouldn't have won here. I mean, this is not the time or place for that. But
if anybody was going to win here, it should have been Gable, but I'm fine with him not doing that yet.
No, yeah, I was fine with this finish. I really liked Zayn constantly going for the Blue Thunder bomb and then finally pulling it off on Reed. And then, the finish came when Otis was getting bullied on the outside again by Chad Gable, and he was very conflicted with what to do. And it appeared like he was going to do the right thing by Chad and clothesline Sami Zayn, but Sami Zayn ducked and he hit Chad Gable.
Clothesline the shit out of him.
Yeah, he did.
Like he hit him hard, and then Sami hit the haluva kick on Bronson in the ring, got the win, retained the title, and Gable was just like staring at Otis, like pissed at him, like in his face. Yeah. It was pretty good.
It reminded me of that the picture of Daniel Bryan like in Buddy Murphy's face from SmackDown years ago. Do you remember that?
No,
meme?
I don't.
Oh, Okay, I don't know. Anyway, someone out there gets what I'm saying. Yeah, fantastic match. My favorite match of the night. I'd say the whole show was good, but if you can only watch one match from this show, I'd say it's worth going out of your way to watch this one. Sami Zayn, by the way, super over in Saudi Arabia, so that helped contribute.
He's super over everywhere, but definitely super over here.
Yes. And then we had our first tournament final match to decide the Queen of the Ring, Nia Jax versus Lyra Valkyria.
So
I still don't know how to say it.
I've been consistent in my disdain for Lyra.
Mm-hmm.
She proved me wrong here. First of all,
really,
I don't think her regular gear is flattering. This actually worked for her. She came to the ring in a full bodysuit with like feathers etched in the sides of it, and then she also had like huge wings that she, moved around a bit. I thought she looked great in this. Like, I think her regular gear looks cheap and not like a star. I'm not saying she needs to wear a full bodysuit, but this is a much better look for her in terms of star presence. Like, she looked like she belonged. And other times it looks like they just pulled her off the indies and she hadn't had time to get gear made. But also, I never found her that impressive. This match was way better than it had any right to be. They got 10 minutes. David versus Goliath match with Nia. I didn't realize how tiny Lyra was.
Yeah, she's pretty small.
I don't know. Did you not care for this?
I didn't. Not really. I mean, I wouldn't say it was bad or like even boring or anything, but it was like kind of nothing to write home about. Well, except for the finish. The finish was phenomenal.
Very much. You should write home about.
Yes, that I will.
There's numerous things in this match with like Lyra trying to do moves that she just couldn't get Nia to move at all. So it's just like her climbing around her body. I thought it was great. She tried to do a drop toe hold and Nia just stood there and she looked at her like, well, this is going to be difficult. It was great. I thought this was really, really good.
Standard small person, big person match. I don't know.
I think it was better than the standard.
Huh. Okay.
Lyra chopped her down a bit, but ultimately Nia got, the upper hand. There was a spot where it looked like the standard like big person gets in the turnbuckle to get powerbomb spot. And Lyra's trying to powerbomb her but can't do it. And like she stretches out to like get extra distance or I guess momentum to slam Nia, and Nia just drops with the bonsai drop that she does.
Wild
Annihilation
finish. Is that what she calls it?
I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the camera angle too, where you can see Corey Graves in the background do what a lot of people at home I'm sure did, just immediately stand up and go, oh, because that looked,
even he was like, that looked fucked up, because it wasn't like she wasn't just laying there for Nia to drop. She was bent in a way that you should not be bending.
No, and it looked like she came down on her with just all of her weight. Like, that looked sickening, and I was like, if that's not the finish, which it was obviously, but no, that was very good. I also do enjoy the spot that Nia does in her matches now, where she like goes for a leg drop or something on the apron and just whiffs and just lands ass first on the apron. I'm disappointed that she hasn't. Yeah, I was gonna say I'm disappointed I haven't heard her yell "my hole."
I'm not
in a long
disappointed,
time, but
I don't think we need that.
I will say, I mean, like I said, this match, it wasn't. I wouldn't say it's bad. I'm not really arguing with you here, but I just it seems like you were more impressed by it than I was.
Impressed. I am now on the Lyra train.
Interesting. I will say I am kind of on the Nia train since she's been back, since she was rehired. I think she's on the run of her career, and I think it was the right call to have her win this.
She's definitely noticeably improved.
Yeah,
I will give her that. But otherwise, like, I still not super into Nia.
Yeah, I mean, as a person, I'm kind of like on her, but I'm enjoying her work more than I ever did. So kudos to her, I guess. Well, when we come back from this break, we will be talking about the Men's King of the Ring tournament final and the Undisputed WWE Championship match. Right after this.
And we're back. So, one thing we didn't talk about before the break was Nia's post-match promo about being Queen of the Ring. She says she's coming for the title at SummerSlam. One thing they did was Triple H presented the crowns to everybody, which I guess makes sense as the King of Kings. I want them to stop calling him the Chief Content Officer and just give him like a silly gimmick of like the boss name, president or something. Because in the context of wrestling, what content is he the officer of? Kind of irks me. I don't know. I don't like the inside baseball stuff. We know that.
I get what you're saying. Yeah. But at this point,
this is an issue I have with the Young Bucks too. It's these guys run the show. So it's kind of weird. But they should run the show.
Yeah, but I think it makes more sense over there because they're using their power
into it from the start.
Yeah. But I get what you're saying here. Like, I don't know. Even if they called him like the head booker, that might be.
Yeah, I don't like that either.
No?
Yeah, it sounds weird. It all sounds weird. It feels weird, but doesn't matter. One thing I didn't like was that Nia like knelt down to be like crowned, which seemed a little weird, but doesn't matter. She's coming for Bayley's title at SummerSlam. I love that these things have stipulations and reason for winning.
I will say, a lot of people have criticized with this Paul Levesque era that it's a little forced and like there's a little too much Triple H.
Oh yeah, I think so.
And I think that's a valid criticism here because it's like, did he really need to hand people their crowns?
I don't mind that. What I do mind is the leaning into it's his era. He's doing this. Like, just do a good show.
Yeah.
He can still be the chief authority figure, but it still comes off heavy-handed. Especially with Logan Paul doing it too. Which we'll get to in a minute. But before that.
I like that. Before that, what did we have?
Yeah. Gunther against Randy Orton for the crown of King of the Ring. Mm-hmm. I might have hyped this up more than I thought. It was a lot slower than I anticipated. That said, I think it was a really strong match.
It was good. It was a good first outing for these two. It felt very much like the two guys were feeling each other out. And like that was part of the story, and that's why it was pretty slow paced. But like this is also, to my knowledge, the first time these two have ever worked. Like I know for sure it's the first time on TV. I doubt they've done any house show stuff together. So, like it really felt like getting used to each other's style and kind of working a slower paced. That built up, and eventually I thought it felt like it was getting really good, and then it just ended. And I just feel like there's a lot left on the table between these two, and I hope that they can run it back at some point.
Well, given the finish, I think we do see it again. But it started pretty slow, lots of like methodical holds and stuff like that, with the occasional getting a chop in. It seemed like they wanted to like build around the chops, which made sense. I'm surprised Orton took as many as he did, honestly.
Yeah. He took one in the corner where he like fell down at 100 miles per hour.
Yeah.
Right after.
At one point in the match, Orton went for the RKO, and it was after Gunther went for a powerbomb that Orton reversed and then went through an RKO, and the crowd bought that so much, even though Gunther reversed it. It was really, really well done.
Mm-hmm.
lots of body slams, lots of just working over Orton. Orton tweaks his knee at one point, so they worked around that. So he has the fucked up back, the tweaked knee, and a busted up neck, apparently, that he's working around. So it's just the most injured Randy Orton in the world against Gunther, who just kind of controls the pace of the whole match.
Yeah, a guy who's perpetually injured versus a guy who injures people.
Yeah. Orton still got his spots in. They did go to the outside at a certain point and do the backdrop onto the announce table a bunch.
I like the way we got there too. Orton did eventually hit an RKO. But he was so banged up that it took him a while to crawl to make the pin. And I really liked how he didn't even get the pin off. Like Gunther, just as Orton was about to put his arm on him, rolled right out of the ring.
Yeah, it was perfect.
I thought it was really good, and it protects the RKO, but also protects Gunther, and I thought that was brilliant.
It was. They eventually got back into the ring, and there was another RKO that Orton hit that Gunther kicked out of. And this is where the finish came in. Right before this, there was a long period of Gunther working over the leg and getting a half crab on Orton that eventually led to this RKO. And Gunther kicks out of the RKO, and like when he's kicking out, he also like smacks Orton in the knee. And then he does a roll up, like a crucifix cradling pin. And if Orton's shoulder, you could drive a train through the gap between the shoulder and the mat, because Orton's left shoulder is off the mat so much. And they just count to 3 and crowned Gunther, and nobody calls it. And once they're in the replay, Corey Graves is like, hold up, I need a replay of that, because that shoulder looked up to me. And I think on one hand, it could be an accident, though I find it very difficult to believe that these two would have an accident like that.
Right.
So maybe it's a happy accident, because I think you can do something here where they can argue that he's an illegitimate king.
Yeah, I definitely think this is a good finish. Whether it was intentional or not, hard to tell. At first, I didn't think so, because like the ref kind of like moves out of position to kind of like avoid having to act like he doesn't see that. They don't call to it until the replay. Like it almost felt like in commentary, like stay silent for a while after the finish, as if like they're hearing stuff in their ear from Paul or whoever, being like,
I assume
shit,
the people in
like,
the back is like, fuck.
Right. They're all scrambling to like decide something. So it could be that, or maybe this is how it was booked. But either way, I think what can come out of this is actually really good, where we can get back to a Gunther and Orton match eventually and say, Gunther, you never beat me. But also, I think this creates a good opportunity for Randy Orton to still get a title match at SummerSlam, because I still think Cody and Orton is a great SummerSlam main event. And I think you have Cody come out on SmackDown and be like, hey, Orton, like, tough loss. I saw the match. Your shoulders weren't down. You're screwed. I'm a fighting champion. Like, let's do this.
I think that could work.
And I think that's how you get the match, because both are baby faces. I don't need either of them to turn. Definitely not Cody, obviously, but I don't need Orton to turn on Cody or anything like that. I think it can just be simple, like, they have history. We respect each other. You deserve this. Let's have this match. I
think that's a fun way to get to that.
Yeah.
And then maybe it's still Orton still has to earn it somehow.
Maybe, but I don't know. And then, it can get a little testy and they can throw some dirty shots at each other because of their history. But I think that's your summer program right there. So, and then Gunther, this could go a lot of ways, right? Because also, I think it was after this match that Caleb Braxton interviewed Paul Triple H Levesque backstage, and he announced that June 15th at the Clash of the Castle, Drew McIntyre has been cleared to compete and will compete against Damian Priest for the world title.
I wonder if that's where all of the Judgment Day stuff starts falling apart. More so than it has. Like,
I think so. because I don't see Damian Priest making it into SummerSlam with the world title.
Like, it should be Priest versus Balor at SummerSlam.
Exactly. I think that's where they go.
And then you have Gunther and Drew for the title, and Punk maybe isn't. Maybe it's Punk and Seth.
You could do Punk and Seth. I would assume you want to get Punk on that card. He's got to be ready by then. If not,
I certainly hope so.
If not, then I think what they do is have Punk, cost Drew the title against Gunther, and then that sets it up for, whenever they finally want to pull the trigger.
People are going to be so grumpy about tossing this title around, but I think it works.
I think you need it. It's been so stagnant for so long. Roman held the freaking title for 3 years. Like, I don't mind it being hot shotted around a little bit. And I think when you get it on Gunther, that's when you can have a nice long reign. Because like that's his thing. That's what he does, is hold titles for a long time.
Yeah.
But it opens up a lot of possibilities. I think I wanted Orton to win this. Just because it's another accolade for him. It's like the only thing he's never done, pretty much, is win King of the Ring. But Gunther being king is also very cool. And I really liked how when Triple H gave him the crown, he never put it on his head.
Yeah, I liked that.
He held it up like a trophy, because that's what it is. And he's not a fucking clown who's gonna start coming out with a scepter and a cape because he won this tournament.
God, I hope not. I'm so glad that Vince is gone.
Yeah. This legitimizes it again, and I don't know. Well done. So
they did the dang thing.
And when we're thinking about the Triple H interview with Caleb Braxton backstage, a funny part of that was the way he announced the match. He was like, Drew McIntyre has been cleared to compete. So tonight I'm announcing that he's going to compete for the world title. And the whole crowd went crazy because they thought they were about to get an impromptu world heavyweight title match.
How dumb.
And then he was like, on June 15th.
When has
it was like,
that is never in the history of wrestling has that happened.
I know, but like, he also could have phrased that a lot better.
Sure, but no. I don't think so. So after the promo, they introduced special ring announcer. Who was this? He was at the last show too, wasn't he?
I think so. Or at least I hope so.
A local celebrity.
Yeah. I'm not even gonna try to.
I don't even know his name.
Know his name.
I didn't catch it, and it's not in the review that I have pulled up to remind me what happened. So, yeah. So that guy's introduced. We get our entrances. No one gets special entrances here. Logan Paul, Cody Rhodes. This match was great.
I agree.
It had a lot of shenanigans, which I personally enjoyed. I like a good shenanigans.
In a main event.
Properly.
Yeah.
I don't want it all the time, but I liked it here.
Right.
They worked around the story that Logan Paul said he wasn't going to use the brass knuckles, which was obviously a lie. And kind of starts off fine in the ring, standard back and forth stuff. And then Cody hits a disaster kick to Logan, who is on the apron. And then they move to the outside, which leads to shenanigans with the Prime Boys, who are at ringside behind the barricade. One of them pushes Cody, and Cody just grabs him and hurls him over the barricade and goes after him, when another one gives Logan Paul brass knuckles, which sends Michael Cole into a fit of rage that I don't think we've ever heard before. And when Cody Rhodes returns to Logan Paul, he gets bopped in the ribs with a shot. And this is where the match turns into working Cody's core. He now has injured ribs thanks to the brass knuckles.
I liked that. I liked the midsection work.
Yeah, it allowed them to set up stuff better too, because there were certain spots that like normally you wouldn't collapse for, but there was a spot where Logan went for the buckshot, and to set it up, he just kind of like shoulder blocked Cody in the ribs, and instead of just falling or going backward, Cody like hit the mat because his ribs hurt, so it made sense.
Mm-hmm.
But before we even get to that, Logan Paul almost gets into a fight with Michael Cole at ringside.
Yeah.
Which was interesting. I don't know what the goal is there.
Yeah, I don't know where this leads to, if anything.
It should lead to nothing. I please don't lead to anything other than Michael Cole doesn't like this guy.
I mean, the whole setup for this match was, Logan promising he's not going to use the brass knucks, and he gave them to Michael Cole at the press conference thing the other day, and then on SmackDown they found another pair in his pants and is making excuses, blah blah blah. And then his friend gave him a third pair, and Michael Cole's really disappointed. He gets in his face, and then Corey Graves kind of steps in and stands up for Michael Cole. And for a split second, I was like, "Is Corey Graves gonna wrestle again? Are we about to get Corey Graves for the U.S. champion run at SummerSlam?"
There was that story a few years ago that said that he was trying to get cleared
right?
again,
or
was cleared, and I don't know if I need that.
I don't think I've ever seen a Corey Graves match.
Yeah, that's the other thing. It's
I know they exist, but
he wasn't that remarkable. So do we need that? I don't think so.
He was on NXT before NXT really started to pick up.
Yeah.
So it was not a time where I was watching that, and I don't know. Who knows? Maybe he's a fantastic worker, and
maybe he's the best in the world, and we don't know. I don't think Corey Graves versus Logan Paul is a match I ever want to see.
No, I don't. I don't think so either. But
it is not anyone's dream match.
It was just kind of why is this happening? This is kind of weird. But that was enough of a distraction to get Cody kind of back into the match, and yeah, I don't know. I thought there was a lot of solid stuff here, a lot of good psychology. I really love. I've been a huge fan of Logan. As far as his WWE work since the day he got there, and I think something he does really well is he introduces new moves all the time, and he's very much presented as someone who studies and watches tape and picks up on stuff and then uses it. I'm sure he is he's really watching old wrestling because he isn't a lifelong fan, and he's picking up things, but it works for who he is and who his character is. And part of that comes out when he reverses things. He telegraphed a bunch of Cody stuff. Cody did his whole drop down and slap you in the chin move. I don't know, the gold dust.
And
spot.
He countered that.
Yeah, and Logan just stopped him, and he just grabbed his hand. He was like, "I'm Logan Paul, bitch." And I thought that was great. And then kind of came full circle with the finish of the match when Cody Rhodes said, "I'm Cody Rhodes, bitch," and hit his 3 crossroads for the win.
Yeah, hit him with the super finish. I'm trying to think if there's anything else here that I loved. Other there was that spot toward the end,
table spot
where, the table spot, which was phenomenal. But that there was so much stuff that happened in this one segment that Cody and Logan battled near the announce table. Then Logan Paul gets Cody on the announce table to do a pedigree to him, but Cody reverses it. And then goes to the barricade and hits a Cody cutter on the announce table, which doesn't break. I wish they would, but I get why they didn't, because the next one was going to. I forget what happens here where Cody then is about to get the victory via count out, and he tells the ref, no, he needs to learn a lesson. Don't count him out. So he gets back outside where Logan takes control, hits the powerful punch on Cody, and then puts him on the announce table, and then goes for his "we're going viral" moment. And there's a drone shot, that's perfect drone shot, that just circles him and this move as he does. I'm sure anyone who is online has seen this already because they made sure that it went out. But basically off the turnbuckle through the announce table with a big frog splash. Announce table breaks. He throws Cody back into the ring, hits another frog splash. Cody kicks out. And then
a good false finish, honestly. I mean, I don't think anyone thought Logan Paul was winning this match, but
no.
For a split second, I'm like, wait a minute. Could it be?
Then we get a big ref bump. Ref gets knocked out. Logan Paul hits a low blow, gets the brass knuckles, I think. And then that's when that's when the celebrity ring announcer guy gets involved because he's a good guy and the bad
by
guy's
the way,
cheating.
Ibrahim El Hajjaj is his name.
Okay, nailed it.
Yep.
He got Logan to stop cheating, and Logan's like, "Who the hell are you?" And then Cody grabbed him and said, "I'm Cody Rhodes, bitch," and hit him with the 3 crossroads. Also worth noting, there was a vertebreaker in this match. I don't think we've seen a vertebreaker in WWE in who knows when, like maybe 2 decades.
If I recall, I think Logan Paul's been training a lot with Shane Helms.
Yeah, I believe that.
So this makes sense. Yeah, and Logan Paul whipped out some new moves too. He debuted a move where he lifts him up for a power bomb, but then like throws him backwards over his head. And Corey Graves called it his new move, the Over Bomb, which
that's a fun name.
I think is a very good name. Yeah, like I don't know if Logan came up with it himself, but it's very good. Yeah, this was a fun match. It was a main event WWE Championship match spectacle with shenanigans and interference and weapons and ref bumps and all the classic
all the
shit,
things you would come to expect from a Logan Paul match.
Yeah,
I don't think it felt like a meaningful world title match, but okay, you don't get to just say that every Cody Rhodes match has shenanigans because he only faces Roman Reigns. That's still a Roman Reigns trope.
I mean,
and
it's a dusty trope. It's a dusty trope. It's a dusty finish. Dusty loves.
There was no dusty finish here. This is a
Which, by
regular match.
I noticed. I go back and watch at some points during this match. Cody kept looking up, and like the first couple times, I was like, "Oh, he's doing he's looking up to his dad, like trying to gain energy from Dusty type thing." But like, there's one point where he like looks up like 5 times in a row, just like quick glances up at the ceiling, and I was like, "What is he doing? Like, is there like a clock up there or something that he's looking at for timing wise?" But then I thought maybe because then right after comes the frog splash spot, and I was like, oh, maybe the drone was like flying around above the ring and he just kept looking at it.
Oh, like a fly?
Yeah. I don't know, but I just some weird little thing.
That'd be so funny. Like if Logan Paul's got his prime people in control of this drone, the idea of using that to distract a wrestler by like buzzing them in the ring would be so funny.
I do wonder if the drone thing was like if Logan had a hand in that, if that was like his idea.
Well, in our Discord, there was someone who mentioned that Logan Paul was helping instruct that. Now, how they got that info, I do not know, but I wouldn't be shocked if he's like, let's use a drone for this.
Yeah. I mean, he's smart. I mean, he's successful on YouTube and going viral for a reason. Like stuff like that is good. But either way, rest in piss, Kevin Dunn, because
yeah,
there were a lot of great shots that I don't think Logan had anything to do with throughout this show. And it's night and day how much better the production is.
It's so weird how Kevin Dunn never, ever, ever evolved the way he shot the program.
Mm-hmm.
And it looked exactly the same forever. And the moment he leaves, they're able to say, like, look at the spectacle. Every show feels so big, even if it's not fully sold out. They make it feel so much more important. And you'd never have known that if Kevin Dunn was here. Just be crappy close-ups, camera changes, shaky cams, all that crap. He sucked. That whole old guard fucking sucked.
So what you're saying is you love the Paul Levesque era?
I don't dislike it, that's for sure. I'm enjoying this more than I've enjoyed WWE in quite a long time. So,
and also I do like, we kind of touched upon it earlier, but I do like Logan Paul going for the pedigree in this match and saying it's the Logan Paul Levesque era.
I guess that would make more sense if they were like tied together in some form or fashion.
I think it's just a pun, and he's taking credit for the success of this era because he thinks he's, the biggest thing in the WWE. It makes sense.
Yeah. Well, this show didn't fucking suck, folks. That said, do you need to go out of your way to watch it? Probably not. But the triple threat match is worth your time.
Yeah. Agreed.
And then, that's I guess I can close this out. That's it for us. We didn't get all of it, but we will try again tomorrow because we have AEW Double or Nothing is the hardest thing to say. That is tomorrow night. We should be doing a pod for that as well. So make sure you subscribe if you liked the show. So subscribe if you didn't get all of it, wherever you get your podcast. Write us a review, tell your friends, post about us, and please consider joining the Patreon if you haven't already. Patreon.com/Fatal4Pod. That's Fatal FOUR Pod. For only $3 a month, you get ad-free episodes, full access to the exclusive Discord, and this week on the Patreon, we will be doing a Oops All Emails edition of Didn't Get All of It. So send us your emails at our website. We will talk about whatever questions you have on the show, whether it's talk about wrestling or talk about the podcast or whatever. Fire those off at fatal4pod.com and tune in at the Patreon. So thank you for subscribing, reviewing, sharing. Thank you for all that. Thank you for Cody, and thank you for myself. Thank you for listening.